European allies of Ukraine have called for more pressure on Russia ahead of Friday's summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. The group, which includes Britain, France and Germany, said Ukraine must be involved in decisions about a path to peace. Overnight, they issued a joint statement saying the path to peace in Ukraine cannot be decided without Ukraine, adding, "We remain committed to the principle that international borders must not be changed by force." Well, President Zelensky, who's already ruled out handing over any land to Russia in exchange for peace, has been consulting his European allies in the lead-up to Friday's talks in Alaska. As it stands, Mr. Zelensky has not been invited to those talks, and the White House have said that there are currently no plans for that to change. However, they did confirm that President Trump was open, as they say, to have trilateral talks in Alaska with both leaders. Meanwhile, on Sunday, Russia said an industrial facility was damaged as a result of a Ukrainian drone attack in the southwestern Saratov region, leaving one person dead and a huge fire with thick smoke seen rising from the scene. Now, according to Russian news agencies, 121 Ukrainian drones were destroyed overnight. Joe Inwood reports.
On a bright Kyiv morning, another Ukrainian soldier is laid to rest. As his widow looks on, his mother reflects on the difficult situation the country finds itself in and the sacrifices it is being asked to make for peace.
Right now, we don't have the opportunity to recapture our territories. But to prevent people from dying, we could sign some kind of agreement, but not give up our territories. Not agree that we are giving the captured territories to Russia.
That feeling that the war must end, but not in a way that rewards Russia's aggression, is not just found in this capital, but right across Europe. It was reflected at a hastily arranged meeting of European and Ukrainian security officials yesterday, hosted by the British Foreign Secretary and US Vice President.
And all the partners share the same understanding of the need for a ceasefire, for an end to the killings. Only one actor stands against this: Putin. His only card is the ability to kill, and he is trying to sell the cessation of killings at the highest possible price.
The fear was, and maybe remains, that when Presidents Putin and Trump meet here in Alaska next Friday, talk of territory swaps will really be about Ukrainian concessions.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
Ever since his now infamous bust-up in the White House, Volodymyr Zelensky has gone out of his way not to criticise Donald Trump or his plans for peace. That same caution was evident in a joint statement from Keir Starmer, along with key European leaders, following yesterday's meeting, which welcomed US talks, but said, "We are convinced that only an approach that combines active diplomacy, support to Ukraine and pressure on the Russian Federation to end their illegal war can succeed. We stand ready to support this work diplomatically, as well as by upholding our substantive military and financial support to Ukraine." But the key question remains: to what extent will the presidents of other countries try to decide the future of this one, without input from Kyiv? And if they do, how will Ukraine react? Joe Inwood, BBC News.
Well, earlier I spoke to Sergei Sanovich, a fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford University in the US, and I asked him about this intervention by the European leaders and more on whether that was far enough.
We don't know yet, but I think it's hugely important, because what Russia wants is to focus the conversation on the territories, who controls Kramatorsk and Slavensk. But you cannot look at it in isolation, right? Putin will say it's a small price to pay for a ceasefire, right? This is largely emptied and partially destroyed towns in Donetsk Oblast. Why not just cede it to Russia? But these are heavily fortified towns. And if Russia would try to take it by force, it would take years. If Ukraine just cede them, then it would Russia would be in much more favorable position to go further west and to take other parts of Ukraine. So if it's not directly tied to either NATO membership or some other security guarantees and continuation of weapons, military support from key allies like United Kingdom, like Germany and United States, then it would be just a small temporary pause in the war, not what Trump is hoping for.
So what do you think President Trump and Mr. Putin are hoping to get out of this? I mean, has it got anything to do with what Ukraine wants or needs? What's going on between the two men, do you think?
A lot, but I think that is sort of, the fact of the meeting matters a lot to each one of them, because they try to sort of show to the world that they're the tough guy. But for us, let alone for Ukrainians, it doesn't matter that much. What matters is calculus. Did the calculus of Putin change? Trump showed the resolve, and this now newly united and newly generous NATO stands firmly behind Ukraine. That's an important factor. This threat of sanctions, secondary sanctions of those countries who still consume Russian energy, that's important. But also the previous willingness of Trump to put pressure on Ukraine, right? This package might be of interest to Putin. If it is, this could be a productive meeting. If it isn't, it will be, either the continue sort of the repeat of their failed meeting in Helsinki during Trump's first term, where Putin just pulled Trump into believing the Russian talking points, or it would be if they try to show who is the tough guy sort of live on air. We are staring at another disaster like it was with Zelensky in the Oval Office, but now with Putin and on ice.
Sergei, who actually has the best leverage, the upper hand in all of this? Because Mr. Trump saying that he would be open, even though Mr. Zelensky hasn't openly been invited to these talks on Friday. Is this just a case of optics? Who has the real strength out of the three of them?
Trump has a lot of leverage. The question is if he's willing to use it, because he's offering Putin a unique deal. Take a fifth of Ukraine, walk free from all the war crimes that you committed. He even discussed, formally barring Ukraine from joining NATO, and sanctions relief, which is important, not because the Russian economy is collapsing now, right? It isn't. But Putin is not about to step out of office, right? He cares what happens with the Russian economy in 5 years, in 10 years. And for that, sanctions are very important. This is an important leverage. The question, if Trump and European allies are willing to use it on behalf of Ukraine.